This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Superbike Show here on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for tuning in to us. We are live right now all over Tinternet, and we are here for a couple of hours, a good couple of hours, talking about, amongst other things, Moto 2, Moto 3, Moto GP, the latest news from World Superbikes, and of course BSB. It might have probably not have escaped your attention that it probably was one of the most emotional BSB finales in a very, very long time at the weekend, and we will totally dissect everything for you. Because that's what we do here on the Superbike Show. We talk about superbikes and other things as well, mostly that we've watched on TV. But one thing that we didn't watch on TV, because we were actually there, or one of us were, it was the BSB finale, and also another man who was at BSB and did particularly well. He did very, very well, in fact, over the weekend and over the season. It's his own team as well, the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha team. Yes, Rob Winfield will be on the show live later this evening to answer our questions, and maybe even your questions if you've got any for him. Yeah, he was just very unlucky to miss out on the Riders' Championship by 3 points, I think it was ultimately at the end. It was it was squeaky bum time, and like I said, it was one of the most emotional BSB finales that we've seen in many, many years, and we are, of course, interested to know what you have to say throughout the duration of tonight's show. You can get in touch with us. It's at MSport Radio on Twitter, where we're also streaming this show live in glorious HD and stereo sound so far, and also it's we're live on Facebook, and we're also streaming on Facebook, which is Motorsport Radio, and also we're also streaming live in audio as a podcast, audio podcast, on our website, motorsport.radio. And also, we're also streaming on the YouTube channel. I think, to be honest, I say this every week, I think we're genuinely streaming in too many places, because when the list of things is too long to read out, then it's... Anyway. But usual things apply if you're a usual listener of the show. Hello and welcome. Let us know that you're listening and get in touch with us, and we want to know exactly how Kiko is wrong this evening, because I'm sure he will be. And here he is. Kiko Alexander Giles joins us on the show once again. Hello, good evening, Kiko.
Back from Brands Hatch, a very emotional weekend, like you say, Lester, for good reasons and for bad reasons. We will talk about that later on when we do come to it and get to all of that information at 9 o'clock. But loads of things going on besides British Superbikes this weekend, and of course, some of that stuff came from Japan because it was the Japanese MotoGP. Yeah, the
MotoGP is where we will start first, the MotoGP package, really, and we will get on to, we'll tease you, I think, is the best word of saying. We'll tease you with BSB. We'll leave, I suppose, the best to last, almost. Well, yeah, no, actually, because we'll also be previewing this weekend's final round of the 2017 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, which is taking place this weekend in Cumbria at Rowrah. Yeah, up north. So that'll be happening, and Kiko will be there alongside Alex Raby, the world famous bike commentator, and myself. I'll also be tagging along, doing some bits and things. But that's all later. We'll preview all that later, and we'll find out as well. We'll try and get the latest on the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well, or the trials, or the thing that's happening in Spain at the moment. Kiko knows more about it than I do. That, anyway, I'm sure you know. MotoGP happened at the weekend. Should we start with Moto 3 then, Kiko?
We can. Motegi, for whatever reason this weekend, and I probably guess because it rained, was underwater. But it's a long time. I think someone found a statistic. It was the first time since the Ulster Grand Prix in 1959 that every single session was wet. every single session at Motegi was wet.
Wow.
They do a couple of dry tyres.
How wet is wet, though?
Well, it's wetter than you look, is that rain, as Jamie Whitten would say. But it really was underwater. Joan Mir had a very simple task to do. Beat Romano Fenati, you are the champion. Finish in the top 2, and you are champion. Didn't happen. Did not happen. Joan Mir did not finish in the top 2. In fact, he didn't finish in the points. He was well outside the points. Romano Fenati actually won. So the points gap comes down by 25 points. It was 80 coming into the round. It leaves now 55. There are 3 races left to go. It is absolutely all to play for. Same rule does apply, though, here at, when we get to Phillip Island, because it'll be first or second for Mir and he's champion, or it'll be ahead of Fenati and he is champion. Joan Mir is not home and dry just yet, and I tell you what, Phillip Island's always a little bit of a belting circuit for the Grand Prix scene on a whole. There's always a good race there. It's a very fast and flowing circuit. It actually really suits the Moto3 bikes. They're so light, and it allows them to really use the corner speed and get tucked in down the straights and whatnot. There's always a few crashes as well, so Joan Mir has actually not finished either Australian Grand Prix that he's competed in. So it's not all done and dusted yet. Romano Fenati is yet to have a top 6 at the Australian Grand Prix, or yet to get better than 6, shall I say, to get in the top 5. So it's not all done and dusted there, though, but they are the only 2 that can win it. Aaron Canet cannot win it. He is, I'd say, looking more at second at the moment at the championship, Aaron Canet. But he's not completely safe from Fabio Di Giannantonio. Of course, Fabio Di Giannantonio, the race in Phillip Island last year, was actually one of his first retirements of the year. So there's a lot of things going on. John McPhee always goes well at Phillip Island, so hopefully we'll be able to cheer on a Brit when we come and do the show next week, Leicester. But Moto3 underwater, and it was an Italian 1-2-3 in Moto3.
Yeah, certainly. As you say, Fenati taking the honours by just over 4 seconds in the end from the other Italian, Antonelli, and the third Italian, old Marco
Bizzecchi.
Yeah, him. See,
that was the first Italian 1-2-3, I believe, since Le Mans 2015 in the Moto3s.
And Suzuki was 4th.
Yes, Suzuki was 4th. Top
on a Honda.
Japanese rider, top Japanese rider on a Japanese bike at the Japanese Grand Prix at a Japanese owned circuit.
Isn't that just for the symmetry of it? Isn't it just crying out for him to be on a different type of bike, though?
No, because he's fine. It should be a Japanese run Honda team, but doesn't get much better than the 658. The interesting thing there, though, is 7th place, Fabio Di Giannantonio.
Oh, yeah.
Another point scoring finish for him. He's 4th in the championship now. He's really come of age this year. Not been as prominent, I'd say, as maybe people expected him to be, but nonetheless, he has been there. He's still very, very young. He's got a lot of time to prove himself. Yeah, as I'm looking down the order now, Joan Mir was only 17th, so miles off the win as well, 23 seconds off the win. So it's all kind of over as far as anything outside the top 2 is concerned, but certainly not for the lower positions. There's a bit of a bun fight going on.
Yeah, and the standings, it's still, it's Mir. Is he officially won that yet? Because he's almost sort of there, isn't he?
No, not yet. He's more or less there, but not quite. He needs a top 2 or more, like I say, to get it wrapped up in Australia. But apart from that, if Fenati does beat him by more than 5 points, it's not, Fenati mathematically is kind of out of it, but realistically, as we've seen at Brands Hatch this weekend, absolutely anything can happen. I
was just going to say, it was, maybe I should put or maybe you should make a prediction and ruin everyone's chances by saying, Mir's going to win it. What was the phrase that your famous catchphrase?
An Act of God.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, it'd be injustice if he wasn't to win it. It really would. He had an 80 point
You said
lead.
that about Haslam.
Okay.
Moving on. So yeah, that was Moto 3. I was just having a quick look at the standings overall, though. Highest place Brit, like you said, I think you touched on earlier, John McPhee in 6th place in the standings at the moment.
He has gone up one though. That is a good thing. I believe he came from quite a long way back as well to get to that 6th. Like I say, I haven't watched the actual race itself, but he did get. Sorry, he got 10th. Then he got for 6 points, moved up to 6th in the championship. So, it just shows the inconsistency, because John McPhee has had a bit of a difficult season this year. Started off really well, and it's kind of slipped away a little bit. And I believe that he'll be counting his lucky stars that he's been able to remain there. Because don't forget, everyone else has had problems as well. So it just shows how inconsistent everyone else has been, and McPhee has got away with it a little bit with his accidents and whatnot, and his other doings down the field.
Has he performed so far to the very best of his ability, would you say? Has he underperformed, maybe?
I don't think he has underperformed. Of late, yes, of course he has, yes, because at the start of the year he was on the podium, he was 1st and 2nd, almost took the win in both. So, yes, he has underperformed a little bit, but, of course, things transpire, other riders start coming good. Look, Anea Bastianini had a terrible start to the season, and now he is there. He is right there, challenging more or less every race. He was 16th at the weekend, okay? But, of course, Motegi was a really strange weekend. Like I say, it's the first time in over 50 years that we've had no dry time at some point this weekend.
Well, let us know if you watched the Moto 3 at the weekend. We want to know your thoughts of it, even if you watched Moto 2, and even if you didn't watch any of those and just watched Moto GP, because it was on quite early in the morning, and I didn't watch it live. It's still on my Sky Plus box.
Leicester, I was in a tent. I got up at 5 to 6 to watch the main Grand Prix. There's just no dedication with you car people.
So yeah, moving on to Moto 2 then, and
I must say as well, just while I was on about the rain,
all right,
it's been a common thing this year where we haven't actually had one clear run all the way through at most of the rounds. At most rounds we've had a dry session Friday, wet session Saturday morning, or there has been changing track conditions. We haven't always had a clear run. I think Catalonia was fairly safe and whatnot, but there has been difficult rounds this year, dropping track temperatures for no apparent reason. So it really has fluctuated. The weather conditions have played a massive part in the results this year. Across all 3 classes, we've seen some really odd results.
It sounds like it was a... What was the stat that you said earlier? It was the first time it had rained in every session since when?
Since about 1959, I think someone found out on Twitter. I don't know who found that statistic out there, so apologies for not crediting you. It was one of the journalists, actually, over in MotoGP. Julian Ryder posed the question, and I think it may have been Simon Patterson from MCN who gave an answer whilst they all wait for their flights over to Australia this weekend coming.
Yeah, Phillip Island, like you say, is the next race in the calendar, and Moto 2 happened, and Alex Marquez victorious in Moto 2. I always just double check that I'm clicking on the right thing on the MotoGP website, because it's a little bit, you are right. You are right. Marquez. And Cyrene. That was your top 3. Really unusual, that top 3. Not so much Marquez. He's still a little bit injured. But Xavier Fierre looked good in the wet all weekend. Tech 3, that's their best result since, I think they got 2nd at the British Grand Prix 2011 with Bradley Smith. So they've really shone in the wet there. And Happy Shirin, he was 3rd in the wet in Misano in Italy, and he was 3rd in the wet again in Japan. He is
called Hatfish. His nickname is Pascal, which is the fish. So obviously he likes the wet weather. He was third, of course, back in 2012 in the Moto2 race in Sepang as well. And that was underwater. Francesco Bagnaia was fourth, and fifth Mattia Pacini. Interesting there. There's no Luti, Morbidelli in the top five. You still have to keep going down. Nakagami sixth, Oliveira seventh. Then you come to Morbidelli at eighth. Ninth for Dominic Agata. There's some stories about him. We'll come to them in a moment. 10th for Lorenzo Baldassari, and 11th for Thomas Luthi.
Wow, yeah.
Not good at all. However, we said we'd come to Dominic Agata. There has been an investigation around Dominic, and he has been stripped of his win at Misano because I believe that the reason is they found an illegal oil sample of all things. So Dominic Agata, who beat Thomas Luthi to the line in Italy, has been stripped of his win. Now that gives Thomas Luthi an extra 5 points. Franco Morbidelli did not finish that race, so that means there's another twist in that championship, because now the points gap has come down to just 19. Luthi is coming. He will beat Morbidelli at Phillip Island last year on a run to the line, and it will come down to 14 if he does the same this year. This Moto2 championship is far from over. Don't forget, Valentino Rossi left Japan in 2015 18 points ahead. He came out of Valencia at the end of the year 5 points down. That can change. It really can change around in just 3 races, as we saw at Brands Hatch.
And the highest placed Brit in Moto2, Taron McKenzie picking up a point in 15th place.
His first point as well.
Yeah, well done, Taron.
So, well done on that, yep.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Just having a quick look at some of the DNFs of the race. Brad Binder, Locatelli, whatever, I don't care. Cortese, Simeon, and Luca Martin.
Yeah, Luca Marini there.
Martin, whatever.
It's been one of them years for Forward, and I think, both riders, well, certainly Lorenzo Baldassari's failed to deliver, and Luca Marini has had flashes, but again, I think they expected a little bit more. So when they change their lineup next year to Manzi, who's one of their riders, and I can't remember for the life of me, I couldn't remember for the life of me who the second rider is. It was announced. It slipped my mind completely. But I think they'll be hoping for some decent results next year. They will want to win. Don't forget, Lorenzo Baldassari did win last year. He took a win at Misano in front of the home fans with the special 911 livery. Went down very emotionally, actually. So Baldassari's a winner. But for some reason, it's just not been there this year. And that is not good. Later if he's inconsistent again next year and he has a good year and then goes poor, people aren't going to look at that and think, oh, he's a consistent rider, and it could actually not have a great effect on his career. Look at Romano Fenati. His inconsistency is what's kept him in Moto3 so far. It's been a lot better this year, but he goes up to Moto2 next year. Can he continue? The best riders will always adapt to the machinery they're riding. Can he adapt to the Moto2 machinery?
Just done a quick calculation with the old calculator. 19 points, if you've not already mentioned that, between Morbidelli and Luthi in the standings in Moto2 at the moment. And that's definitely one to keep your eye on. It's and don't count out Alex Marquez either. Yeah, he could be a bit of a spoiler.
Absolutely. Alex Marquez, he can't win it, I don't believe. He can be second, but he can't win it. So Alex Marquez will be looking. He'll be looking to take points off Thomas Luthi and help Franco Morbidelli where he can.
Yeah, I mean, if he say, I don't know, perceivably he could potentially win the remaining races, and that could certainly affect whoever wins overall. Like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If Marquez even gets ahead of Morbidelli and Luthi's leading, that could have a big effect on who wins it, because Luthi's coming from behind, so he needs to take as many points off Franco Morbidelli as possible. So, all in all, Luthi hasn't really got a teammate who can beat him, and there were no team orders, I believe, at Mark VDS. So it all depends on Marquez. Can he be consistently ahead of both, or will he be consistently ahead of different riders? There's other people. Mattia Pacini can be another spoiler. Takaki Nakagami can be a spoiler. He took pole position on Saturday at the Japanese Grand Prix. So there is a lot of room for, not errors, but certainly a few little decision-making rides, I think, for Alex Marquez. I think he can really have a say in it all.
Well, that's what I just said.
No, I think really like a say which could really help Thomas Luthi, because Franco Morbidelli's never really been in this position before. That's another dynamic to it all. Franco Morbidelli has never been in this position. Thomas Luthi is an ex-champion, so he may go into the last round of the year actually knowing not what to do, but not getting them nerves, because he's done it before and he was a championship contender last year. So, you know, it's one of them. It will come down to riders getting in the way, not just Alex Marquez. Just quickly, statistic time. It was the first 1-2 for Spanish riders in the intermediate class since Tito Rabat and Alex Rins at Valencia 2015. I cannot believe that we've nearly gone 2 years without Spanish 1-2, when the amount of Spaniards coming up through the class, or coming up through the ranks of Grand Prix, was such a huge quantity of them.
Well, that is, you're full of facts tonight, though, aren't you?
Well, I try to be full of facts most weeks, but I end up being full of something else, I suppose.
Yeah, I was just going to say, other people might say you're full of something else, blah, blah, blah. Incidentally, by the way, since we're talking about other people, a big hello to everybody who is tuned in right now, live to us here on Motorsport Radio. Hello, and welcome once again to the Superbike show. A few comments about, apparently, your new hair, Kiko.
It's not new. It has been trimmed slightly, you know, so I don't have a big, I don't know, aerodynamic effect going on at the front anymore. It's a lot more reserved and tidied up, I like to call it.
Well, Elliot York says he's glad that you sorted out your mop. And Steve Buckingham he's been on and said, bloody hell, Kiko, you've had a mega haircut.
So Steve Buckingham went from the dentist earlier, and he went actually to the plastic surgeon to have his nose taken down a little bit, because last time the stewards in British Superbikes actually disqualified him from the paddock because he had an illegal nose on. So, you know, play them games, Steve. But then again, I suppose his insult was worse, so he wins it by a nose. I'm not even. I'm staying out. I'm waiting for the phone now. I'm here, Steve. So get ringing, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you anyway for your comments, guys, and non-guys as well, whoever's watching. And you can also get in touch with us because we are live. And later in the show, in just over 1 hour from now, we will have a special guest on. Kiko, tell us more.
We will be talking to the team owner of a team that has absolutely transformed themselves in 2017. Last year, they scored 3 points across the whole season. This year, they were 3 points off winning the championship. It's one of the most amazing stories in motorsport over the last few years. Without doubt, probably the best story in British Superbike since it was reformed in 1996. Rob Winfield will be coming on the show. And there you are. Look at that. Fantastic to see. Such a well-organised team. They have delivered to the highest standard this year. They were so close to taking the title. And he will be joining us to tell us all about what a roller coaster of a year it was. And I cannot wait to talk to Rob. I spoke to him on Sunday night in the bar. We had a very good conversation with him. What it means to that team, that little team, that looks like there's a lot of people, but it really is a little privateer team. And they've really shown us this year that you do not need factory backing to succeed in British Superbikes. Josh Brooks' season has been stellar, and Sean Winfield's had his best season yet. It's been a win all round for the Winfields.
And if you have any comments, or maybe not comments as such, but let's say questions. If you have any questions for Rob, and get them to us, we'll certainly put them to Rob, and you'll be able to hear exactly what he has to say, because he'll be live on the show as I said a moment ago, in around about an hour's time. So that'll be good. He'll be on the phone, and it'll be great to hear his inside perspective on especially what happened at the weekend as well. All the drama and the action, and if it's not too unkind to say, the heartbreak, because they could have won it. They could have won it.
Also, I think the achievement, the size of the achievement that team has achieved. They've only been in Superbikes for the last 4 seasons. It's very important to remember that. 17, 16, 15 and 14. And they haven't had the best of luck of late, of course, in 2016. Like I say, only 3 points scored. And before that, they did have the podiums with Richard Cooper, but never in the showdown. And they've delivered this year. I just can't wait to talk to Robin. I've lived it a little bit with that team this year. I've seen what it means to them just to get it right. And I've seen it when it's gone wrong. And, to come that close to a championship, it will be heartbreaking for them, and they'll be going to bed, and Josh Brooks will probably go to bed thinking, what if? But at the end of the day, that achievement that they have managed to get hold of is just remarkable. So can't wait. And get your questions ready, because he is really coming on this show. So do not think we're trying to get you in here. Get your questions in.
Yeah, well, they'll be able to hear exactly. Anyway. He will be here later on, providing that he actually picks up the phone. And he will do, because we've already spoken to him briefly off air. A few more comments have rolled in regarding your old Barnet, Kiko. Probably best to not read them out, but I'll say hello, David Hopper, and hello to Chris Howells as well, who share the same sentiment as many other folk, congratulating you on your new Barnet.
Oh, thanks. I didn't realise it was such an achievement. Maybe we'll have me on the radio next week being interviewed, and you can post your questions to me. What's it mean to actually not have 7 kilos of hair on my head anymore?
Oh,
yeah. Honestly, it's not that big a thing. We have this amazing thing in this country called barbers, and you can go to them.
Yeah, any more folks? I think we'll be giving him a bit of a complex, maybe about, I don't know, about his hair. So we will move on, though, and talk about the MotoGP that you said you watched, and at whenever it was, 6 a.m. or something.
6 a.m, set the alarm at 5 to 6. I must apologise straight away to Jane Goff, who I sadly woke up, and she wasn't too proud of me and too happy with me when she eventually got up. I think it was 8 o'clock when I'd been awake for 2 hours, shouting about the MotoGP. So apologies there to Jane. But
I'm presuming she was in the next tent.
She was in the next van, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was a peasant, I must admit. I didn't have an amazing structure. I was in effect in a tiny little, I don't know, sheltered housing, I suppose, and everyone else seemed like they was in detached houses. But
camping doesn't make you a peasant. I mean, there's loads of admirable people camp at race events.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Feel bad about it.
Hopefully, I'll be one of them admirable people.
I was thinking more in particular of some of the marshals.
Infamous people for me. But no, MotoGP. What a race! No one expected that one, I don't think. Andrea Dovizioso coming from row 3. In the race, came through and just stalked, really. Marquez made his move towards the end of the race, and Marquez was not having any of it. Took the lead back, pulled away on the last lap, and it went all the way down. Marquez made a slight mistake, I believe, at turn 7, or turn 8 or 9, round the S section in the middle of the circuit. He made a slight mistake, gave Andrea Dovizioso a little bit of confidence to get back near him, but he still wasn't right with him. Coming down the straight into the infamous turn 12 at Motegi, Dovi got past, held his line all the way round. Marquez had one last chance, one last desperate lunge into the final chicane. Didn't work, and just like in Austria, Marquez overcooked it. Dovi took the win, and the gap now is down to just 11 points going into the final round, the final 3 rounds. Marc Marquez cannot win the championship in Australia. Another fact, Marquez in 2013 did not finish the Australian Grand Prix. He was disqualified. In 2014, Marc Marquez crashed out of the Australian Grand Prix. In 2015, he won it. In 2016, he crashed out of it. It is not his most favoured circuit by any stretch of the imagination. Andrea Dovizioso, on the other hand, has got good form there. He has gone well there before. He will go well there again. This championship could go right down to Valencia. It is not done yet, and it's Marquez and Dovizioso. Will it be that way round, though, after Sunday's race?
That is the big question. Your thoughts on maybe, I mean, looking already sort of like brushing Motegi aside, your thoughts on what might happen at the next race in Phillip Island?
It really is hard to predict because...
Barring acts of God, of course.
Yeah, there's so many variables. I mean, you've got... Will it rain at Phillip Island? It's not supposed to, but it could rain. We know it could rain. You've got the cold track temperature. Dani Pedrosa is still in this championship hunt, but he's not actually in a realistic mathematical position to take it, really, I don't believe. You have also got things such as this circuit is really unique. This allows for close racing. You may have a couple of spoilers in the way. Look, in 2015, Andrea Iannone was not in the championship with Rossi and Lorenzo and Marquez, but he still made his way through, still interfered in the championship. So, like in Moto 3 and Moto 2, the championship could be decided by people getting in the way, and that really is a possibility at Phillip Island. The circuit's really fast, really flowing. Yamaha always go well there. I think they did win in 2013. They won in 2014. They were second and fourth in 2015, and they were second last year as well. They have an immaculate record there. Valentino Rossi loves Phillip Island. He won there in 2014, in 2005 as well, 2004. He won in 2003 with a time penalty on the Honda. He loves Phillip Island. So Valentino Rossi could really, even though he's injured, even though he's not in a great bit of form, you could say he's not been on the podium since Silverstone, hasn't won since Assen. This is a time of the year now for Valentino to start showing that, to the doubters, as there are doubters out there of Valentino Rossi's abilities and capabilities, he needs to start proving to people that he is here and he is not losing that touch that Valentino Rossi had. Rossi loves Phillip Island, like I say. It is a perfect place for him to go and do it. I am expecting Valentino Rossi to be in top 3 this weekend, but I am expecting Andrea Dovizioso and Marc Marquez to go head-to-head for another classic Grand Prix down under.
Yeah, I did suggest something like what you just mentioned there. Maybe Rossi kind of came back a bit too early, but with his near podium just weeks after breaking his tibia and fibia.
Yeah.
Obviously, he still has pace, but long term, these things.
But the interesting thing, and I pointed out as well, Valentino Rossi,
I don't like to question him, but
no, Valentino has never gone well in Japan at Motegi. He's crashed out more times than he's won there. I think he won in 2001 and 2008. He crashed out this year, last year, 2011, he was taken out, and in 2005 he was taking out Marco Melandri. His form at Motegi wasn't great. No one really expected him to really have a good chance at a podium or win. His problems are in the dry weather are the exact same as they are in the wet. And unfortunately, it was dripping wet on Sunday and throughout the weekend. Valentino Rossi qualified 12th. He worked his way up to 7th or 8th by the time he crashed. These things happen, It was a big eyesight for him. He bounces well for 38 years old. He'll be back at Phillip Island, but it's in what capacity will he be back? Can he be back fully fit? Will he be back and not even fully fit? Can he actually challenge? These are all questions that Valentino Rossi knows answers to, or he will know an answer to. So, all in all, I think that, I don't want to turn this into the Rossi show. There are bigger things than Valentino Rossi in MotoGP right now, and that's Dovizioso and Marquez.
I just want to say to all the people who have already shared this live stream of the Rossi fans group, hello, on Facebook. So Kiko Alexander Giles there with his own opinions and not of motorsport.
in the current season, though, it's true. There are bigger things to deal about than Valentino Rossi. But I think Valentino Rossi can mathematically win the championship if he wins all 3 races and no one else scores a point.
I'd also like to just share a reminder, really, of a friend who was lost a couple of years ago, and someone who found fame from the MotoGP race. Of course, our old friend Gavin the Seagull, and chips were left out for him many times, and will continue to be left out. So yeah, our memories.
Yeah, I found out. I actually did a little bit of an investigation into why Andrea Iannone did headbutt.
Because it was in the way.
No, apparently Gavin had said something to Andrea in the pit lane, and Andrea thought he had a chip on his shoulder. So he thought, well, have that.
Okay.
But no. Anyway, back to the MotoGP at Motegi.
Yeah.
Danilo Petrucci again demonstrating just how good he is in mixed or wet conditions. Another podium. I think that's his 4th of the year. It's the most Pramac I've ever had in a season with one rider. He was second, of course, in Assen. He was third in Mugello. He was second in Misano, and he was third in Motegi. You've got to think that win is coming soon. And Danilo Petrucci's done it the hard way. He's rode some horrible machinery in his time. 2009, he was in stock thousands riding goodness knows what. He's really come through. Don't forget in 2012 when he came into the championship, he was the rider who developed the Iota bike. And he continued to do that until 2015 on the Pramac Ducati, where he got his first podium. Continued to show signs of improvement last year, and he's really come of age this year. That's why he's 8th in the championship, and he's only 5 points off Jorge Lorenzo. If he beats Jorge Lorenzo, you've got to start considering whether Jorge's up to the job at Ducati. He won't far enough into the year now to really start, I think, analysing Jorge's performance. He will come good, I believe, next year, but so will Danilo Petrucci. He's also on a GP17 bike. He's on the factory bike. Not in the factory team, and that will make a difference probably. But Danilo Petrucci, keep your eye on him. He's really coming good. They're not far away from 6th place man Johan Zarco. They're not a great weekend. There's 14 points covering that battle for 6th. It's virtually impossible to catch Valentino Rossi in 5. The top 5 are away with it, but the 6th, 7th, and 8th place men are well in with a shout.
Yeah, and that was. While you were talking and paying attention to you, of course, at the same time, having a quick look at how Sam Lowe's got on. Decent, I think. Yeah, finished P13 at the weekend, picking up 3 points. So, what?
Have we got someone on the line?
No.
Let me just make sure that wasn't my iPad. Sorry. To jump in here. No, I just heard something ringing. I don't know what it was. Sorry. Jump in. It was carry on with Sam Lowe's.
It was probably, I don't know, it's probably Gavin.
Maybe it was Sam Lowe's.
Oh, right, okay, no, I know what that was. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, it was yeah, ignore that. So yeah, Sam Lowe's in 13th place. And
yes. Getting back in the points. He hasn't been in the points since Le Mans. Why? It was in the top 10 in Misano, then crashed it. He's very difficult for me to kind of reason for Sam Lowe's to be in the Aprilia team next year. Okay, yeah, he's got contracts, but every contract, no matter what one you write, has a get-out clause in it. There was a get-out clause, and it was activated, and Sam Lowe's will be leaving the Aprilia and leaving the Premier Class MotoGP. But, I just think, well, he's going on a KTM for the Intervetten team next season. He will be competitive, and hopefully we will see him back. But it's been a disastrous year. If you look at his points, he's 24th, 25th in the standings on 5 points. Mika Kallio, who's done a couple of wildcards this year, is 24th in the championship on a brand new bike, the KTM, on 11 points. So, you got wild cards beating Sam Lowe's at the moment. That is not what he needs.
Well, yeah. What do you think? If you're tuned in live, who do you think might get the win in the next couple of races in MotoGP? Who will ultimately take the title? How will it go down? What will happen? Let us know. We want your opinions right here.
And let us know about what you think about Xavier Simeon, because I do believe that we did ask the question a few laps ago. Sorry, where's that come from? A few rounds ago, and we never got time to read out your comments, so get them sent in as well.
What did we ask?
We asked about 3 shows ago, but
I don't remember what I did half an hour ago.
We did not manage to actually get the thoughts in, because there was something else going on. I think it was the attendance of the British Grand Prix.
What was the question that you asked?
Well, what are your thoughts on Xavier Simeon getting a ride?
Okay.
Because he ain't done nothing for me to deserve a ride, I'll tell you that now. Some bit of news for you all. Anyway, Brock Parks will be replacing Jonas Folger. Of course, Jonas Folger was out of the Japanese Grand Prix, replaced by Nazane. And now Brock Parks will ride at home. Of course, at Phillip Island, the Australian. Ex-MotoGP rider, full-time, ex-World Superbike rider, ex-Aussie Superbike rider, ex-British Superbike rider, ex-World Supersport rider and race winner. So he has got massive pedigree. He will know what he's doing. He'll be out there, I think, to score points. Whether or not he can or not, I'm not so sure. But Brock Parks in for Jonas Folger at Tech 3 Yamaha. Some people say it should have been Josh Brooks.
Who says that?
A lot of people on social media wanted Josh Brooks.
What do they know? Anyway, so yeah, MotoGP. Same question for you though. For the next race, what might happen? Or did I just ask you that?
You did just ask me that, but I'll give you a prediction anyway.
Okay. I thought I asked you that about Moto too, but clearly
I'm going to say 3 race winners across all 3 classes. So in Moto 3. I'm feeling McPhee. I really am. He always and he's actually got a good package this year. John McPhee could really show us something there. Moto 2, Franco Morbidelli. I think he'll want revenge for Thomas Luthi mugging him on the last lap last year. And I also believe that in MotoGP, it will be Andrea Dovizioso who will win again. Don't forget, he has won both these races. All 4 of his races before Japan were won in back-to-back races. So you had, at the start it was Mugello and Catalunya. Then it went on to Austria, he won. And then, obviously, Silverstone after that. So could it be Japan and Australia? Who knows? Who knows? But I'm feeling Dovi.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to give my predictions because
yes, you are, Lester.
Okay. Marquez.
Okay. So I'll be taking a $5 off you at Rowra then.
Well, I didn't bet anything. I just said. It was just a prediction. That's not a bet.
Anyone watching this show would know that I just clearly said a $5.
No, you didn't.
So, well, they would, but. A bit of more MotoGP news. There's not a lot to get through this weekend, or tonight even. There's not a lot planned for this weekend either. As far as news is concerned, there's not a lot on the horizon because all the main seats are gone. But the testing rule has changed because we are expanding the calendar to new markets in 2018 and 2019. The testing rules have changed. You now will only have 2 European tests instead of 3. So, there's a bit of a change there for the classes. That comes into effect in 2019.
Okay. Any other big bits of news that we need to know?
Not that I know of. I'm on the site now. There's not a lot really going on. It's not the time really for announcements in the flyaways. A lot of teams are based in Europe. They have big sponsors in Europe, so they will probably do it in Europe.
Fair enough. Yeah, so we'll we'll just have to wait till then. Right, this is the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester, and we will have a special guest coming up in 45 minutes' time. Wow. And that is the team owner of the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha team, Rob Winfield in BSB. And you can get your questions to him. And if there's some burning question about maybe next year that you want to ask him, we can just ask him for you. You can get your questions to us. It's at M-Sport Radio on Twitter. It's Motorsport Radio on the Facebooks. And you can just ask it on the comments box of this live stream as well. We are definitely live, and we can even read out your comments, and a few other comments have come in as well. Kiko, in the past, we've been talking about MotoGP as well. Fred has been on. Fred Hagestrom. Sorry, Fred. He's predicted that Rossi to win. I'm guessing the next race, but he says no chance at the championships. Although he did say that Marquez could win. And he has a good chance. So,
yeah, I think that's quite a reasonable thing to say. But Marquez doesn't go well at Phillip Island. You know,
he might.
His 2011 season came to an end there when he rammed the rear end of Ratterback with Willerot at Stoner Corner. So, you know, Marquez and Phillip Island are not synonymous with victory like Marquez and Kota are, or Marquez and Sachsenring. So it's not all done just yet, and I wouldn't count your chickens. If it comes into the next race below 10 points, we are absolutely in for one of the tightest championships ever. It really could be a bit special at Valencia.
And Chris Howells has been on. Hello, Chris. Thank you very much for tuning in. He, I think, predicts. I think he was predicting for the next race. Obviously not for the championship. He don't even know. He put a smiley face there, so I don't know if he was saying it in jest. But he suggested that Cal might win if he doesn't crash, because apparently he likes the place.
He does. He won there last year, of course. Cal Crutchlow, first ever British winner at Phillip Island, or at the Australian Grand Prix at all, because, of course, we've had Eastern Creek in the past. But Cal Crutchlow, first Grand Prix winner ever from Britain to win in Australia. Could it happen again this year? We don't know, and that's a perfect example, because no one saw it coming last year. He started from the front two rows, but no one really saw Cal Crutchlow as a credible threat, but cold track temperatures worked for him very well. We could see something very similar this weekend, because it's Australia. Anything can happen down under.
It certainly can do, yes. And do we have an indication of TV times or when things are going to happen? It's probably like at 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah, ridiculous times in the morning, I would imagine. I can go and have a look at that now, though, for you. But
I probably, just because we'll be, busy, I won't be watching that live.
Well, I might watch it live, I don't know. Qualifying for MotoGP is at 5:10 on Saturday morning. That's Q1. It all comes to an end at 10:04, 10:06 even, on the same Saturday morning, Q2. And then race day are the times that you need. Moto3 starts at 3 o'clock, Moto2 starts at 4:20, and MotoGP starts at 6 o'clock. That's your British times, wherever you are else around the world, because we actually do get a few people from elsewhere in the world, in the Far East, for example.
A lot of listeners in Malaysia as well, and in Singapore, and
Thailand. So we are a global entity. But no, 6 o'clock, British viewers, the 80% of our viewage is from the British Isles. So 6 o'clock, the main one, is kick-off time and goodbye time for Seagulls.
Oh, R.I.P. Gavin. Yeah.
Yep.
We will brush MotoGP 2 and 3 under carpet for now, and we will come back to that very shortly. But next, anyway, we're moving on, because we've got tons of stuff to talk about, or Kiko has anyway, because we've got the some bits of sort of kind of news regarding other superbikes, the World Superbikes.
Now. This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Yes, indeed. This is the Superbike Show. My name is Lester. Welcome to Motorsport Radio. I definitely wasn't dancing at all. Definitely not. I was dancing. Thank you very much. We are live right now all over Tinternet, on YouTube, on Twitter. We're streaming on there, on Periscope. We're streaming on the Facebooks. We're streaming on something called Twitch. I think the kids know what that's about. Anyway, and coming up later in the show, we will be previewing this weekend's final round, the 8th and final round of the 2017 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, which is going to be taking place in Cumbria at the Rowra Kart Circuit, or the Cumbria Kart Circuit, and it was previously going to be held at Donington, but a late last-minute switch has meant that we can all party in an old quarry late on the Sunday evening, and Kiko Alexander-Giles will be there with us, and he'll be sort of co-commentating, I think. So watch out, kids. Barring an act of God, nothing will happen.
Yes, I'm glad you stuck that bit in at the end there, barring acts of God. Don't leave it a watch out, kids.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Kiko made his commentary debut earlier in the season at a Cool Fab event, and he mentioned something regarding a leading rider, that this is going down to the last lap for this particular rider, barring acts of God, and boom, straight away he hit the floor.
We've been apologising all year, and his mum and dad, well, they haven't emigrated just yet, but they'll probably get to see you at the weekend if they're there.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, did I not tell you? I've got something else on.
So we were looking ahead to that, and also that'll be coming up after we've had a chat with the team owner of the sensationally sensational performance of the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha team, which is Rob Winfield, and I'll try my best to not get his name mixed up with Sean at all, because that
happened 2 or 3 times today. Is it, Lester? I told you that Rob was coming on the show, not Sean.
I heard Winfield, and then I just proceeded something.
Oh, Sean can come on the show. Sean, if you listen.
If you tuned in, you know, come on, and we can have a chat to you, and we can mither you to death about bikes and whatnot, and where you're going next year, and where you're going next year, and what you're doing next year. Apparently, he's got options, but people have already been asking where he's going next year, and who's riding for the team next year as well. So, if you've got any comments, or maybe not comments, questions, nice questions for Rob, we will relay those questions to him. So if you have fancy yourself as a bit of a journalist, an investigative journalist, and you want to know what's happening in BSB, you want to get the latest, the lowdown on the team that finished second in the championship against all expectations.
Yes.
Not to be disrespectful, but
before that, of course, we have the small matter of World Superbikes going to the soulless bowl that it is Jerez, because again about 6 people will turn up, and I just don't see the point in it going to Jerez. I think I'm right in saying it's the last time they'll go there this year, and for that we must all be truly thankful. Anyway, World Superbike news, of course. Lester, hello. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry. I was just tuned out there. I was zoned out.
I was tuned out as well.
Sorry. I was. I did it again. There you go. Sorry. Yes.
The World Superbike news.
You get on these soapboxes and you're just like.
We'll get there again.
Carry on.
World Superbikes. Gintoli, Sylvain Gintoli, the ex-world champion of 2014. We'll be back in that paddock with Pichetti Kawasaki. Now, that deal is expected to go through right till next year, because that's where Sylvain Gintoli will be ended up. He will stay with the team for this round and for the sale at the end of the year. He got a podium there last year, and he won the championship there in 2014. So Sylvain Gintoli is going to be at Jerez this weekend, as is Davide Giuliano. The Italian makes his return to the Honda World Superbike Red Bull team, and he will be there, I believe, as well at the sale. So he gets another run out of the Honda that he has said it is ever improving. We'll see how good that goes. Of course, Nicky Hayden took 2 fourth places at Jerez last year on the old Fireblade. So it'll be interesting to see if Davide Giuliano will match it. Doesn't look likely. Hirata's been resurfaced since MotoGP went there, and this is actually the first World Championship event that will be taking place on the new track. Well, not new track, but resurfaced circuit. The Junior World Championship has been there, but that is, like we say, junior. So that is only it's a bit like a national championship. Kyle Ryde was at Puchetti Kawasaki. He's no longer there. He's looking to make residence back in Britain with a few Supersport options available for him, probably, and definitely after his stunning ride on the FS3 Quattro Plant Kawasaki Superbike, I'd believe that has thrown a few people up in the air about 2018. Maybe Kyle Ryde's having a bit of an influence on who is going where, because he will be hot property for 2018. Apart from that, not a lot to report from World Superbikes. Jonathan Ray's wrapped the title up. He likes Jerez, as does Tom Sykes. Marco Melandri does as well. Who can forget Eugene Laverty's pass at the final hairpin in 2013 around the outside? Laverty beat Melandri. He's on the Aprilia again this year. Laverty started to come good on the Aprilia. Who knows? Leon Camier could also be an upset on the MV Agusta. So, of course, they're still waiting to announce their rider lineup. I believe it'll be Loris Baz there, along with either Stefan Bradl, or there's a few options. Maybe it'll be Davide Giuliano. He's Italian and he's tall, like Leon Camier with the tall section. So that bike may work. I think when I said Giuliano is tall, when I said Giuliano is tall and Italian, I like Camier. I didn't mean he was Italian like Camier is Italian, because of course Camier isn't Italian, he's British. So just to clarify, but what I mean is they're very similar builds of riders and could make that MV Agusta work very well. The new bike is coming out soon. Say new, it's still based on a design that's 25 years old. So it's nothing set in stone, but I think it'll be Baz and Giuliano at MV Agusta next year. Because Camier has gone to Honda, of course.
And if you're tuned in to us live and you happen to know something, maybe there's a few people who's been knocking around a few paddocks and you've heard a few things from a few people, then do let us know, because we want to know. We're nosy. Who's going where? So if you know something about someone doing something, possibly,
let us know.
Yeah, tell us. Other than that, what else is unfolded from World Superbikes or even Supersport?
There is really not a lot. Doesn't look like Keenan Sofuoglu or Keenan Superglue will be riding this weekend at Jerez. He had a bit of an accident down at Magny-Cours in France, so looks like he's out of it. And that will almost end, well, it does end, Puchetti Kawasaki's run at a World Supersport Championship. They were supposed to be running Leon Haslam this weekend in the Supersports, but that hasn't happened either, because Leon is injured with his numerous injuries after his massive accident down at Brands Hatch. But again, we will come on to that soon. There really isn't a lot to report out of World Superbikes. The Championship race is absolutely on for second place, but apart from that, Jonathan Ray's already won it and he's walked it this year. The one thing Jonathan Ray will be looking to do is try and beat Colin Edwards' record score of points in a season that was set back in 2002.
Do you think that's realistically possible? Is it going to happen?
No, I don't think it can happen, because at the end of the day, Jonathan's never really done a lot after he's won the championship. He's always played like the team support, kind of get Tom Sykes to second place and make it a Kawasaki 1-2. So I don't think it is realistic. It'll be a target for him to want to achieve, but whether or not he does it, I'm not so sure.
Well, I've just been having a quick browse on the old interwebs for the latest comments that have flooded in. And there's a couple of comments on the Facebook Live chat that we have running at the moment. Hello to everybody tuned in live on Facebook. Hello, welcome. This is Motorsport Radio. Andrew George has been on, and he said that Kyle Ryde needs to be on a superbike. I'm guessing for next season. I don't know if he's talking about World Superbike or...
Well, I spoke to Kyle on Sunday, and that is where he wants to be, British Superbikes. He doesn't want to be able to go to World Superbikes because it costs too much money. Obviously, he does want to be there, but not if he's having to pay. You know, Jonathan Ray put a lot of money into Kyle's career, and it just hasn't worked. So Kyle wants to make home back home in the UK. He's from 10 miles down the road from me in Hucknall. He's very local to us, and a lot of people... He's got a huge following. No one will forget what he did in 2015 on that pace stage Yamaha at the World Supersport meeting. He came down into Donington Park and he was battling for the win for most of the race with Jules Cluzel and Kingsoft Rockley. Finished third. Oh, what a ride, and literally, what a ride. He is a great little rider. He can do wonders, and I think if he gets on the right bike with the right team, preferably a British team in Supersport that runs a Yamaha, I think he's laughing. I think he would wipe the floor with the opposition.
Interesting. Well, Andrew has also chipped in with another comment, and I don't know if he's saying this based out of some sort of knowledge or is just his pure will of wanting it to happen. But he's said Colin Wright to Honda UK.
Be interesting that. Colin Wright was part of the GSE setup many years ago. Last time they were in the championship was 2009. They ran Leon Camier and James Ellison. He's been around the paddock for a long time, but he hasn't been back of late. There was a big rumour last year that Colin Wright was coming back in some sort of capacity, and I've been saying all year we need someone like Colin Wright back to get some more numbers on the grid. Not sure whether that is 100% true, though. We will find out in the...
Yeah, how do you know that? Yeah, let us know, Andrew. Is it just something that you want to happen, or do you know Colin? Let us know.
Yes.
We know
yes. Indeed, I haven't heard that one, and there's been many rumours, and I have not heard that one. So, lots of questions coming in. I've just seen that Steve Godfrey is tuning in. That's the father of Stock 1000 rider Ben Godfrey. Had a huge off at Graham Hill Bend in the Stock 1000 race. I actually saw Ben after the meeting was done. I was in the bar, and he was coming out of it, and I just made sure he's okay. He's all right. Ben's a big enough lad. He took it very well, I think, and... although I think he was stretched off, but he's okay. I see he was walking fine. So hopefully Ben will be back next year because he's had a few flushes this year, arguably more than years gone by. I've followed Ben for the last few years now. Give him a right bike. Hopefully he'll be all right. I believe so. Yeah, hopefully Ben can get back fit. He's not too damaged now, and he will be a more consistent top 10 next year.
So have we finished with the? I noticed we sort of like segued seamlessly into BSB, but
British Superbikes. But that's good because that's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
British Superbikes, and there's a few great rumours that I've heard already. We'll start off with the facts. Michael Laverty has gone to the Tyco BMW. Now, I will open up the debate right now. We have an hour of this show, probably more to go. I have had so many comments already on my own social media, on the groups that I run, and on the Picker Online. I have had so
much abuse.
People come in, start slating Michael Laverty for going there, and started slating Tyco BMW for having him. My iMac is frozen here. I will get the post up because it has been on my notifications all day. Just bear with me one moment while my Ghanaian internet loads. We will scroll down, and
no offence to people in Ghana who are on the internet.
No, but they won't be watching because they haven't got internet.
Oh dear.
Where is it? Is it in my... It might be in the group. I will have a look in the group. But already people saying it's a waste of time. It's that Tyco are rewarding crapness. I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to leave that to you guys to contribute in. What do you make of Michael Laverty going to Tyco BMW? He's had a terrible year, arguably. You know, he's not done a lot this year. one podium, that is all, and that came at Silverstone. Let us know. What do you think of that? I will get some comments up. But it really is an interesting concept, because he's been at the team before. He was at Tyco back in 2016. He's been at Taz Racing before, back in 2008 and 2010, and in 2009 as well. So, they where does this leave Andy Reid? That's another question. Andy Reid, of course, with a broken leg at the moment, he has no ride now at Tyco. Some people say he's going to be on stock thousands. A lot of people saying that, actually. But I can't read out this comment exactly, but it's how does something, has he got that ride? He must be paying for it.
He is.
That was from Andrew Thornhill. Rod Snook says, afraid his sell-by date is up. Someone else asking about, what about Josh Elliott? Well, Josh Elliott is talking to a top stock 1000 team. I can tell you that now, but I won't say who the team is. I might have mentioned it on this show before, so you'll have to go back and look. Marcus Johnson says, what an absolute waste of a seat on a competitive bike. Nothing against Laverty, but surely there are better riders that will give Tyco better results. Who do you agree with more? There's a lot of negativity regarding this situation. Tell us what you think. Are Tyco BMW right to sign Michael Laverty? Personally, I don't think that's a bad signing at all. Michael's just had a very tough year at McCann's Yamaha.
Well,
on with the rest of the news.
Yes.
Massive news come out yesterday, and one of these is actually not so surprising. The second one really caught me off guard. I actually said to Elliot York in pit lane, that's Stephen Watson, who presents the Northwest 200. I wonder what he's doing there. I went back in the garage, and I didn't see who he was talking to. Tommy Bridewell and Richard Cooper will be doing the Northwest 200 next season. Now, that is an incredible prospect. They join Martin Jessup, Glenn Irwin, Peter Hickman, Michael Rutter, Dean Harrison. Maybe Josh Brooks will return. If Ian Hutchinson is fit, he will probably go. And I know, having spoken to him back at Stetton in July, Bjorn Esman has a little thing for the Northwest 200 too. There's no fact that he's going, but there's that he spoke to me and he said it kind of thing. That sets up probably, arguably, definitely to me, the best Northwest 200 lineup we have seen for years and years and years. And that's saying something, because the Northwest 200 is never, ever poor. It's thick with a lot of talent. The depth of talent in that field is incredible. We could be in for an incredible Northwest 200. You heard it here first. Get your tickets booked. Get your hotels and accommodation sorted out. Get some funds put aside, because watch that spectacle. Glenn Irwin's off there to defend. Alistair Seeley, of course, is the king of the Northwest 200. It really could be one of the most fascinating Northwests we've seen for a long, long time.
Yeah, and that will be certainly interesting to find out how that develops. I'm sure you'll keep us up to date.
And not just that, there was lots of other news. Sorry to just high-side you out in your seat there, Lester.
All right.
PR Racing, I spoke to John Jameson, the Liverpudlian-based team. They want to expand to 2 bikes in Superbike, British Superbikes next year, staying with BMW. Joe Francis is a rumour in that, and I have permission from John to tell that. They want to return to the roads. They almost did it this year with Dave Johnson until he went to the northern side. They are trying to put together a budget to run 2 bikes in Superbike and 2 bikes in the Super Stocks. Looks like they'll stay with Sam Comich in the Stock 1000, and I'm almost certain they will stay with Jakob Smertz, who's had a half-decent season this year. He needs the continuity for a 3rd season. I spoke to Dave Tyson. He might be watching this as well. Dave Tyson has no plans to go back into BSP. He does want to stay with Jack Kennedy in the Supersports, and he does also want to expand that to 2 bikes. I know James Spurley has been talking to the team, but as I know now, that is not 100% a done deal just yet. It is still just talking. Aside from that, I can give you an official announcement from Steve Buckingham, the team owner of Morello. They have signed a foreign rider who is currently in the paddock. I know who it is. I cannot say who it is. So I am.
Well, that's hardly an announcement, is it?
No, well, it is an announcement because, you know, that leaves the floor open, the dance floor is open for you to make some moves on who you think the foreign rider is.
Are you going to tell us, though?
I'm not going to tell us, no, because I get on with Steve very well, and I would not like to have a 7-inch nose imprinted into my face, because that wouldn't be very nice.
Well, that's too much of a tease. You can't say, here's an official announcement, and... someone is going to be riding somewhere.
We will tell you when we go to the NEC, Leicester, because that rider is being announced. So,
just tell us, Steve, if you're still tuned in. Just let us know.
If I'm feeling generous, I might tell you next week, but I'm only saying that because you'll tune in next week. I can confirm that there is a rumour going around. I can confirm the rumour that Steve Buckingham's Morello team are talking to a Swedish rider who has good connections with Saab and Volvo.
So Philip Backlund?
No. And that's for Superbike racing. So there's a certain Swedish rider who has great connections with Volvo, especially Volvo, not so much Saab, but especially Volvo, who could be making a British Superbike star. I was just waiting for my phone to start going mental now with Steve Buckingham.
Would it be a returning BSB rider by any chance?
I don't know if it'll be a returning BSB rider because he just said that it was a Swedish one who's done a lot of things for Volvo. Tony Morris might get to know this. Regarding other Superbike news, Silicon Engineering, the plan for them is to, I think, remain in Superbike because they've not done a lot since coming into the class early on. But Dean Harrison is the fastest road racer in the world. And apart from that, it's a little bit sparse in the British Superbike department, really. The interesting thing with Michael Laverty, well, I'm going to get back to this Michael Laverty scenario now, is what the signing means is that 4 riders now will not be there. I was told at Alton Park on a Friday night that Dan Linford had signed. Well, unless Tyco BMW run 3 bikes, which they won't, Linford won't be there. Like we said, Andy Reid will not be there. Peter Hickman, that speculation of is it Tyco, is it Smiths, has ended. I'm fairly sure that'll be Smiths. And that almost definitely confirms Danny Buchan will not be there either, because there was a suggestion and a rumour that Danny may go there. Because he is, of course, and I must congratulate the Morello Kawasaki team and thank them as well for the hospitality, much appreciated, that they are the Stock 1000 champions for 2017 with Danny Buchan. That's the second time in 3 years, the only team to achieve such an incredible achievement, and Danny Buchan, 2-time Stock 1000 champion too. So all good. My phone's going mental. I do not know why. Yeah,
no idea why. It could be. I don't know. It sounds like you said some things there, but yeah, maybe some things that. I don't know. Maybe.
Have we got any comments flooding?
We had a couple of comments flooding. I've not refreshed my page yet, but yeah, Simon Hall is still tuned in, and thank you and hello, Simon. Go on. What is it?
No, I'm just I'm looking at some of the comments. Just carry on talking, Lester. Oh dear. Not so much the comment on the feed. It's just what I've been sent through.
Sharing is caring. You better share it with us.
It's just funny. It's just funny. I'm half expecting a text off a certain Swedish rider any moment now, but yeah, you'll find out all the information here, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting few shows towards the end of the year, of course, and more on that Swedish tester. Anyway, you know, like we say, close ties with Volvo.
I don't know. It sounds more like a joke than it is.
It's not a joke. It's a very, very serious subject, and there's a very old, apparently, and then again, this is more rumour. an Australian rider may be going to Steve Buckham's Morello team.
Well, anyway, I was halfway through. Sorry to interrupt, but I was halfway through a comment from our Simon Hall. Hello, Simon, who said regarding I think going back a couple of topics ago, he's saying that Michael has had no confidence this year. Maybe the BMW will give him that. Regarding a previous thing that we were talking about.
Indeed. And you've got to wonder, it's not just Michael Laverty that's not been on the pace. James Ellison didn't make the showdown either. So, you know, maybe, I'm not going to get onto the McCams thing again, but maybe it was something in the team that Michael just didn't get on with.
Barring an act of God, he was due to be up there, wasn't he? He was due to be on.
This is the thing, you know, he had all the gear to do it, and he had the wealth and the knowledge to do it, the wealth of knowledge to do it. So I'm not sure why it's not all worked out. I'm sure we will get a clearer answer next year when Michael does step on the Tyco BMW. Of course, there's another rumour that Tyco are actually dropping out as sponsors. So is it going to be Tyco next year? Again,
well,
that's rumour.
Well, Simon Hall, been on again. Hello again, Simon. He has said that Keith Farmer was, this is only according to Simon Hall, and maybe other people as well, maybe even... Yeah, anyway, Simon says, Keith Farmer was offered a Tyco stock ride.
Oh, well, that is... that's not surprising. I know Keith wants to get back on a 1,000cc
Doesn't
bike.
mean it's true.
Exactly.
You know, but,
doesn't surprise me, but from what I've heard, he's been very sought after by a factory team in British Superbike. So, you know, there's loads of rumours. There really is a lot of rumours. It's how much fact there is to them, or if any fact at all. You know, so the Swedish rider for Steve Buckingham.
So should we just phone Philip and get it out, just ask him?
You could ring Steve if you want. Should we get Steve on the show? Do you want his number?
Well, he's tuned in. He can.
Doesn't matter. We will get Steve on the show.
He was tuned in anyway. But Nick Jenkins been on, and he's asking, is it Philip Backlund by any chance?
Think of all the Swedish riders.
I can't think of any apart from Philip. He's the only one I know. Maybe
Agnieszka Folkskog was a Swedish rider back in the day.
Oh yeah, how did I forget that? Yeah, so Andrew George back on, and he's asking your opinions on the McCams 2017 performance. Ooh, Andrew, cheeky.
Go back about 10 shows ago. It was the one after Thruxton. My opinions haven't changed massively, but they have picked their game up a lot, I must say. Throughout the year, they have got a lot better. And I don't know, I just think that, you know, they've got the year out the way, that it's the proving ground year. It's very easy to say, Tommy Hills, he pay me Yamahas, didn't get into the showdown either. They didn't have a massively successful year, didn't actually win a race. So they've actually achieved more. Maybe we asked a little bit too much of them. I don't know. For the calibre of riders they've got, they have been a little bit subpar for me. So that's answered that question.
Indeed. And sorry, what were you saying just a moment ago? I forgot. Well, just a moment ago before I chipped in with those comments. I
was going to say Steve Buckingham's coming on the show.
Oh, right. When?
Hopefully in a moment.
What, should we phone him now?
Try.
Okay, we'll this right. Let's do this. Let's give this a go.
Watching?
Is he okay? Are we just okay? That we doing this? Let's do this.
Let's do it. And if he doesn't answer, I'm gonna snake in on him now because he's online.
All right, hold on. I will. This is happening, by the way, folks. Blame.
It's totally unprepared. I've just texted him. Get ready.
That's what we like here. Unprepared stuff. It makes me totally not nervous at all, one bit. So anyway, right. Let's give this a go. What have you got me doing here, Kiko? I don't know what the hell.
Hello.
Hello, Steve.
You are on Motorsport Radio. Is he there? Is he hung up? Is he there? Steve, hello?
Who's that?
It's
Hello.
Kiko.
Hello, Kiko.
You're on Motorsport Radio.
Yes, you are live, Steve, so...
What's the language?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We've only got a quick 10 minutes, but you're on. Talk us through 2017. What a year it's been. Second time in 3 years, you're Stock 1000 champions.
Yeah, we are. So what more could you ask for? When we signed Danny at the start of the season, I did predict what I thought Danny would do this year. But you got to take your hats off to Richard and Suzuki. They have pushed us all the way. And in all fairness, the championship could have gone either way. Perhaps we were a little bit more prepared as we knew our Kawasaki inside out. And I think Suzuki was just a little bit unfortunate, which we capitalised on.
Indeed, and of course at Branzat you had Josh Day in as a replacement for Fraser Rogers. What do you make of his performance over the weekend? It was very good from where I was standing. He was only a position off a point.
Well, what you got to say is this. Although Josh had ruled for us 2 months ago on our bike at Pembury and broke the outright lap record, he came into Brands Hatch after 2 months and had not tested or put his leg over that bike. One of the things he did notice on a bigger circuit where he could really stretch his legs, he said that's the closest to riding a Superbike than he ever had done before. But one of the problems he suffered with, and he's never had it before, was arm pump. He was originally challenging for 12th place, and he just dropped back. You couldn't ask any more of him.
Hang on.
You what, Kiko?
Oh, sorry, we lost you for a moment there, Steve. Carry on. You said it about Josh Day's arm pump.
Yeah, he got. That's the first time. That's the first time ever Kiko has actually got arm pump, and that was the reason why he dropped back.
I never got any arm pump, Steve.
No, Josh got arm pump.
Oh,
that's because I'm hearing everything twice on the phone, Kiko.
Yeah, no, Kiko gets a different type of arm pump. We won't talk about that, though.
Oh,
yeah, I know. In all fairness, I did notice that when he was in the garage.
Anyway, what's the plans for 2018, Steve? What have you got planned for us? We said that we've announced a rider. I know you can't say, but is this rider going to be the rider that gives Morello 3 out of 4 as far as titles are concerned?
There is a very good possibility the rider I am trying to sign, if he does what we think he'll do on our bikes, there's a very good possibility. You never can tell, but I would put as much faith in him winning the 3rd championship as we did in Danny, winning the 2nd one for us. That's all I'll say to you. But yes, we also have signed, you are correct, we have signed a foreign rider, and he is an Australian rider, but we've also got to keep that to be announced, as you rightly said, at the NEC.
Ooh.
Absolutely. And are you anticipating it to be a stronger season? Because we know that you had Fraser and Danny coming into this season. Do you think they could both be an equal package to Fraser and Danny, or are you expecting them to be better than Fraser and Danny for this year?
I would say I'm hoping that the total package would be a stronger package. Would you say that the rider I'm after, well, that ain't just one rider, that's one particular rider I am trying to sign, how can you say he would be stronger than Danny? That's something I couldn't say, because Danny has done absolute fantastic job, and you never can say never about Danny either. No one knows what Danny is actually doing yet, so there could be 3 stock bikes on the grid. What would that do?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
can you imagine? Yeah.
We're out there.
Oh yeah.
What do you make of Danny Buchan's performance this year? 10 wins, I believe it is. That's an incredible amount across a year. And has he exceeded your expectations, or has Danny Buchan done what you thought Danny Buchan would do?
I truthfully believed what Danny has done is what I predicted at the start of the season. I was speaking to a person, Dixie Dave Clark, and he actually commented this week when I spoke to him at Donington at Teston. I predicted that I had the winning rider in Morello to win the stock championship this year, and you can look on Facebook, and that is on there. Danny done exactly what he said that he was going to do, and that was win the Stock 1000 Championship. But in all fairness, and I said earlier on, and all credit to Richard, he pushed Danny all the way, and the Stock Championship could have gone either way, and that was exactly what I said to Richard's boss on Sunday when we won the championship. Simple as that.
We were on, obviously, it's the Stock 1000 Championship, and the Stock 1000 Championship saw changes this season. How do you think them changes have been? Are you, as a team, in favour of having split races or a 50-mile race or whatever they are? Do you think that's a great idea from up above?
In all fairness, yes, that was a good idea, but I would probably, like most teams, we would have liked to see like a super sport format where you have maybe a slightly short race on a Saturday, and then your longer race on a Sunday, and maybe with a little bit either more free practice and even maybe more qualifying. But then Stuart has only got a certain amount of time that he can fix things in, and then people have only got a certain amount of budget for riders and crash, when people crash and tyres and everything else. So you got to go with what the series say at the end of the day.
Indeed. We're going to run out of time because we've got to fit Rob Winfield on. But Steve, thanks for coming on at such short notice. It's been funny, at least, and very informative. So
no problem.
Great to have you on.
No problem. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Thanks,
Steve. Ta-ra.
Yeah, so well done for setting that up with no notice at all, Kiko. Yeah, it's we did it anyway, and great sport as well.
Nothing else. But like we say, we'll stick with that. Danny Buchan has done an incredible job this season. Really has impressed me, I've got to say. Come off not a difficult couple of years, a difficult 2016 where he was just a little bit. He was okay on the Ducati. He had a few races off, went on a Kawasaki that was a little bit old, couldn't really get on with it. We'll get on it and get it to the top 6. And he actually spoke to me and said he was just a little bit left with what do I do now kind of feeling at the end of it all. So it was, I think, a fantastic comeback year. Danny Buchan has really put himself in the shop window, as has Richard Cooper, let's not forget. Both of them been up there from the word go. Danny Buchan, rightful champion, I believe, with in the final race by 10 points. So, like we say, Steve Buckham's team, first team to win 2 Stock 1000 Championships in just 3 years. They've only been in the paddock for 4 seasons, so it's not doing too bad.
Tony Morris has been on. Hi, Tony. I think he sent the comment when Steve was on a moment ago, saying, "Blimey, Steve Buckingham, you've signed Casey Stoner," which
I heard it was someone called Anthony Gobert, but purely speculation.
And Andrew George says Josh Elliott at Morello.
Very strong possibility, I'd say, because he's got great connections with the team from 2015, and of course he won the title there in 2015. Josh hasn't signed with anyone else. He's had a reasonably okay year at Tiger, considering he's been drafted in with such short notice. But I think, you're looking more at, I don't know, I wouldn't discount Josh for a ride at Elliott, Josh for a ride at Morello, but it's very early on. This season doesn't start for another 5.5 months. Obviously, you want to set testing goals, so 3 months left yet to sign riders. It's been done very early this year, but don't expect every team to follow.
It does feel like a long way away. I mean, I know Motorcycle Live is what next? Is it when next month? It'll be when? What day is it? I don't even know where. What's my name? I don't know. Anyway, when is it? It's like mid-November, isn't it?
Well, one thing that is absolutely certain is that it's 9:30.
It is, and I just want to apologise that we didn't actually give anybody a chance to put any questions to Steve, because I didn't know he'd be on, to be honest. That blame Kiko for that. So I would have literally spammed even more Facebook groups and all over the internet, so that you could get your questions to him. But that's what we like planning here on this show. But we will have on the phone very shortly the team owner, the team boss of the team, who I think we've talked about previously, has sort of excelled all expectations, or some people's expectations, maybe even his own expectations as well. It is Rob Winfield joining us now, hopefully. Hello, Rob, you're live on Motorsport Radio on the Superbike Show. Good evening.
How are we doing?
Excellent.
Oh, good, yeah.
Kiko is here, and he has some questions for you.
Cool. Good. Fire away.
First of all, you must have been stopped hundreds of times throughout the weekend. 2017, what a year. Sum it up, because surely in your wildest dreams, after 2016, you never expected to come 3 points shy of a title win.
No, for sure, mate. I mean, 16 was a year that we don't want to look back and remember, really. It was quite bad with the results and everything. And then obviously we got Brooksy on board for 17 and everything come into plan, really. It was good. And it was the same crew, really, that we had in 16. It's just that everybody gelled. We got on with the job. And to say we'd be 3 points shy at the end of the year, like you say, it's just a dream, that is. We didn't expect that. If we was looking to just get into the showdown at the end of the year, and that was it, really.
Exactly. And when you signed Josh, did you have the feeling that this could be something really, really special if everything falls our way, which it almost only did?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I say, it couldn't be any worse than we had in 16. It was very frustrating for everybody in 16. And once we got Brooksy on board and we knew we had to up the game a bit and pull everything together and make it happen. And like I say, to get in, we was just planning for the showdown, really. That's where we was. And we'd take it from there if we got in, and to have some podiums through the year would be really great. But it's been quite exceptional.
In terms of knowledge and experience and even, I suppose, publicity, how much has Josh Brooks contributed to the team? How much has he brought to your squad for 2017?
Yeah, he's put a lot of knowledge, obviously, because when he rode the Yamaha in 15 and won the championship, he's put a lot of that understanding over to us, not for us to change for us, but for how we wanted to ride the bike, really, and how we wanted to settle on the bike, so we could relate to how it was in 15.
Exactly, and as well as that, Josh had the previous Yamaha knowledge, and you'd worked with the Yamaha for a year. So did your guys know that? Okay, well, we know not what to do for 2017.
Yeah, we had a lot of knowledge, obviously, from 16, but then Josh brought what he knew to it, and we put everything together, and obviously he then took it to another level. And the guys adapted to him as well. So it made it a good team combination, really.
Indeed.
That's what
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's what it was all about, really. Everybody pulling together, from the tyre guys to the truck drivers and everything, all the crew chiefs and mechanics, and Gary, my son, who runs the team, and because he did a lot with the electronic side, and then obviously Josh brought Stuart in, his crew chief from 15. And Ejo with the team and everybody, and it was one big happy family. It was good.
It really was, and probably the happiest moment of the year was Thruxton Race 1. Your first win in British Superbikes. How did that feel, seeing that?
Yeah, for sure, it was amazing. I mean, to do what, to come through from where he was in 6th and start and lead, and then to carry on and win, it was amazing. It was that was unbelievable. To me, we got that right, because Thruxton's quite an hard circuit for the tyres and suspension and everything, really, but it's actually Josh's favourite circuit. Yeah. And we said if we're going to go well, we're going to go well there, and we just made sure everything was right, fresh engines, so because Thruxton's quite demanding on engines and everything, and obviously we dialed everything in, and it come good. And then unfortunately in race 2, he lost the front end in that left turn, and subsequently we didn't score any points. That was it.
And you say race 2. What have been those difficult points of 2017? I mean, I suppose looking back on it with hindsight, Cadwell Park must have been really difficult, considering Josh has gone so well there in the past.
Yeah, Cadwell Park, we had an up and down thing with Cadwell, and the same with Alton, really. We had a bit of a suspension issue, which we thought it was rear suspension at Alton, and it emphasised it more at Cadwell. So we changed the bike dramatically for Cadwell just to try and adapt it, but it didn't work, to be honest. It was a bad meeting for us, that was.
It was, but as well as Josh's success overall, Sean's been riding really well this year. In fact, I think the statistic was out of Thruxton. In race 2, his fastest lap was quicker than James Ellison. So Sean's been having a good season too.
Yeah, Sean's dug in, especially at the beginning of the year. He's been scoring points and setting his new lap records that he did from 16, and just keep pushing forward. And then he was telling me that then he started. He had a few offs, a few accidents, and the trouble is that the accidents he was having was quite high speed ones, and he was getting a bit battered and bruised. And then subsequently the races come together close at the end of the year, and there's not much time to recover, is there, from when you have a bad knock? That's the trouble.
Indeed, and you know, as much as his knocks have had an effect, he's battled on. And you know, when he came out for the weekend at Assen after his big crash on Friday, you know, I can believe it when he was riding on Sunday. So he can do it.
That was a massive one. That was, and everybody come to the garage after and said, "Oh my God, that was seriously quick." And he dug in. We got the bike ready, and then got him back out there. And that is the best thing to do if you're capable of getting on it and pass fit by the medics. And obviously we come back to the UK then, and he was still injured. And even at Brands at the last round, he was still carrying some injury due to that. With his foot was really still swollen and limited movement on it, and part of his hand was as well. So that's why the results didn't come from that onwards, really.
How much goes on behind the scenes? Because obviously what we see and what I've seen this year is me at the weekends I've come to see you, or been at home and watched you on the telly. But what goes on when you're away from the circuit? How much effort goes into making sure that bike is absolutely bang on for Josh and for Sean, and how much effort goes in personally as well? Because I think I heard a story, you'd gone all the way down to Kent midweek and back again. On anyone else would be sitting at home worrying and nervous about.
We was back down. We was down in Kent doing a job for my welding company, and we did a 17-hour shift that day, and then we drove back, got the campers, got the caravans and everything, and the trucks, and then we left for Brands, and then it was full on again. But in between that, obviously, the guys back at the workshop, the bikes are stripped down to the frame and rebuilt, and everything checked and greased and put together, and the engines, they're obviously monitored for mileage. And towards the end of the year, we didn't even take any risks with engines. We didn't take them to the mileage that we normally did. We refreshed them early with pistons, rods and shells around the crank, and then new valves as well, just to make it doubly sure that everything was all right.
Exactly. And how much does all that kind of mean to you when it does go right? You know, you put all the effort in, and when you see Josh Brooks winning the last race of the year, or winning at Thruxton, or wherever it will be, what does that mean to you?
Well, that's amazing. I mean, when you're working through the year, I mean, you always have some lows. Every team has lows, and then once you have one good result, it just picks everybody back up again, and you're up there again. So it is quite special. And to be honest, it's not for me or Trace or Gary. It's for everybody involved, really. It's all the team. It's one big team, isn't it? It's everybody that counts. And without them being there, the team's not what it is, for sure.
Yeah, quite right, because at the end of the day, it's a team effort, and everyone has a little bit to chip in, whatever their skill set is.
Yeah, for sure. No matter what part they're playing, they're all there to do a job, and the guys that have done it this year, just amazing. They've all gone on and done it. no quibbles, no arguing. They've just got on and done what they've had to do, and done it a top job as well. Can't fault any of it.
Absolutely. One question I think everyone wants to know is, you are a privateer team that you don't get no support off Yamaha, very little support off Yamaha, and to beat the factory-supported team, that must mean a lot to you.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, like I say, we don't get any help off them at all. Whether that will change now that we've kind of proved to them that we mean business and we can be there, and with a little bit more help, then we could probably do it again or even better. Who knows? You never know. It's racing, isn't it? But to have some help would be incredible. But this year was nothing. We didn't have no support or nothing, and to keep getting results and doing what we did, not just against the other Yamaha team, but all the other constructors there with Kawasaki and Honda and BMW and everybody, just incredible. Yeah. To have fastest laps and race wins and even just podiums and just keep pocking the points up through the year to make sure that we was in the showdown. I mean, you look back at the stats and there was only 2 riders in it that haven't been out of the top 6 all year, and that was Josh and Leon. And that's quite an amazing thing for saying that, like you say, we was a privateer team with no support, just limited sponsors and help people like Anvil that come on and chuck me in and advertise, and we give all that stuff too, and it works well.
Yeah. How much do all them sponsors mean? Because without the sponsors, you wouldn't be going racing at all, would you really?
Correct. No, they're as much a part of the team as every member. Without them there, or what we can, and that's why we give them as much as we can, and with advertising and any corporate days that they want us to do, or anything really, and we can try to generate their companies with business and everything, whatever we can do. It works well. Yeah.
At what point of the year did you start thinking this could happen? Josh Brooks could do the big one for us this year. What did you ever think that at any point in the year, or even in the final race?
I didn't, to be honest, because obviously like I say, the main goal was to get in the showdown, and then we got in it.
Yeah.
And then we did drop to 6 in the championship, and then we started. We had another good meeting, and we started climbing up. Then we was 3rd, and then you go into the last round where Leon was so far in front with points to us and Shaky. I mean, we went in 2nd place and Shaky a point behind us, and you think, my God, it's going to be Leon's year, this is. And then suddenly, one meeting and it can all turn around again. And I think that's what makes the championship so good. It's all down to the last race on Sunday afternoon, isn't it? And after all the rounds have gone, and it's down to that one race to decide who is going to be champion.
Yeah, the showdown is so unique to...
It is.
And Josh has shown in the showdown or out the showdown through his career that he can be up there regardless, and it shows the calibre of rider he is too.
Yeah, for sure. He's one-class rider, and everybody is there. Everybody's doing a good job at Superbikes. There's no idiots out there. They're all top riders, aren't they? And then you get the top riders in the showdown, and they just dig in that little bit more and have a little bit of luck and find that bit more, and then it comes down to that last race, and it made it a cracker, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. What's the plans now moving forward? 2018. We can talk about 2017 all day because it was so special to be a part of as well from my point of view. But what's next for 2018? There's so many rumours about Josh is doing this, Josh is doing that. Can you clarify anything, and when can we expect to find out about 2018?
I think in the next couple of weeks there'll be some news out of stuff of what's happening and where people are going and who's coming and what's happening. So, yeah, I think it won't be far away for sure. But, yeah, we'd like to be there again, doing it again. And obviously, like I said to various people, we just need a bit more help to come and do it better. And push on and give it another good shot, really, to prove to people that it wasn't just a one-off and we can do it again.
With the success that this year has brought, are you now looking at maybe expanding to stock thousands or super sport or even road racing? Is that on the horizon, or are you staying grounded?
Well,
Superbike?
Yeah, I think we're just gonna. We have our offers to run people in stock thousands as well, but I think just to do the Superbike, I think, is enough focus for what we need to do, really, just to keep a feet on the ground and just keep plugging away at what we're doing, really. We don't want to get away from that and spoil what we've already got, really.
Okay, right, that's my questions, but there's a couple of questions I want to put to you. Andrew George has asked, what's the difference between James Rispoli and Josh Brooks?
Just experience, I think. I mean, James is still learning. He's got a long way to go. And Josh has been there, and he's been riding for a lot longer, and he's got a lot more experience. And he kind of gelled with the Yamaha, didn't he? Josh did, and it suits his riding style. And he proved it this year, for sure. Yeah,
and Andrew George also has put a statement out regarding the rumour mill again. Apparently it's going to be a straight swap between Josh Brooks and James Ellison. How much clarification can you offer us on all of that? Because, like we say, it is a rumour mill, and you know, some people love speculation, but we'll hear it from the horse's mouth. Is there anything you can confirm about that, or apart from that?
I don't know about a straight swap, but we'd have to see. But like I say, in the next week or 2 weeks, you'll soon know what's happening for sure.
That should be good. No problem. Rob Winfield, absolute pleasure to chat to you again, because I spoke to you on Sunday night anyway, but thanks for coming on the show on Wednesday, and we wish you all the very best if we don't talk to you before then for next season. Mate. It's been a pleasure this year.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for everybody that's been involved with us and all the people supporting us through the year. Really, really appreciate it from everybody. That's great.
Thank you very much, Rob Winfield there from the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha team. Leicester, what a performance it's been.
Yeah, sensational, and I just that was I suppose an education, really. I just wanted to listen to what he had to say, because he's lived it, and interesting as well. Comments that he made there to say that he's had offers to do other things in addition to his BSB, but understandably he probably just wants to consolidate maybe that second place in the championship for next year and remain in just BSB for now anyway. But it should be interesting, and I can in my mind. Although, do you remember when we were all sort of like cheering on at the end of the race? Yay, it's shaky, and then the Haslam hug happened. In some ways, I kind of felt a bit sorry for the team, because they were the sort of I wouldn't say forgotten champion. I'm trying to find the right words for it. Not the forgotten nearly man of BSB, but
it's kind of overshadowed by what happened with Haslam and with Shaky making so I think I've kind of passed over the achievement and the success that they have had.
Yeah, I mean, three amazing for different ways. Three massive stories happened in that final race. One was Haslam. The second was the team getting second in the championship and in the Riders' Championship as well, and of course Shaky taking it from an unexpected position from where he started. Was it something like 32 points from behind? Going into this weekend?
Josh was 32 points down.
Okay.
And Shaky was 33 points down.
Yeah, that was it.
So, I just can't believe that, and I know a lot of people will be watching this, and I've already been asked so many times about my opinion. I can't believe that you just don't see it in bike racing where a lead gets that big and in 3 races it's gone.
Mm.
You know, Josh Brooks told me on Saturday, and it was a really good description. Leon Haslam is carrying this golden egg, and he has got the bubble wrapped around it. He's got everything around it. He's got netting, everything around this egg in case he drops it. The golden egg being the championship is in his hand. It's his to lose, you know? And at the end of the day, he has lost it. And it pains me to say, really, because no one ever wants to see a championship decided like that. You know, and everyone kind of predicted that Josh wouldn't stay with the team for long, or Josh wouldn't achieve great things at Anvil, but there's a lot of people, and I know he's watching. Tony Morris absolutely predicted that Josh would be just as good. Josh would beat McCann's team. You know, Josh would not wipe the floor, but, you know, that Josh would be just as competitive as he was back in 2015 when he lifted the crown. And in all fairness, he's been in the last 2 British Superbike seasons he's been in. In 2015 he won it. In 2017 he lost it by 3 points. That is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of there. He almost did something that Shane Byrne would not have done had Josh Brooks won. Josh Brooks would have won, well, not back-to-back championships, but back-to-back championships in the seasons he's been in the series. So quite an incredible year, really. There's a lot of highlights about 2017 for me, and yeah, the action, the drama, the thrills and the spills, all the tears and the emotion of it all came out.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but there wasn't a lot of dry eyes. There was a lot of people.
It got me, I have to say.
Overjoyed by the sportsmanship at the end, and then when Haslam crashed, and you know, you see the hard work. And again, I spoke to PX so many times this year. You see the hard work that they put in, that everyone puts in, and in that whole paddock, not just Pete, but Paul Bird and Rob Winfield and the guys at McCann's and Bennett and Tycho, all the work and the graft to get to one thing. And it's one thing losing it in a head-to-head scrap like we saw with John Hopkins losing it against Tommy Hill in 2011, but losing it to a mechanical issue and then that led to a crash. No one deserves that, and there was heartbreak. It's touched the sporting world. It really has, and it just goes to show what this sport is about. It's not about head-to-head rivalries all the time. It's not about not hatred, but it's not about having a nemesis. It's not about trying to win every race. Sometimes, as much as it's about scoring as many points as you can and trying to win every race, sometimes the best moments come off track. And it really was so powerful to see Leon Haslam with a broken thumb, a broken wrist and a broken ankle make his way to the finishing line to congratulate Shane Byrne on his 6th title. You know, that's raw emotion. And to see it live, to see it trackside, is a very special thing. And Stuart Hicks said it's probably one of the hardest things he's ever had to see in his career, because it was so emotional. Honestly,
yeah,
it's just incredible to see a whole season, 25 or 26 races after the final race, 26 races, 10 race winners, 16 podium finishes, 6 manufacturers winning a race, 6 people in the showdown. It all went wrong for Jake Dixon on the Saturday in race 1. It went wrong for Haslam in race 3, and it went right for Shane Byrne and Josh Brooks across all 3 races. And to see it play out from the first round to the last round, it's something very, very special. And anyone who, not just me, anyone who went to every round, the teams, the journalists elsewhere, the race organisers, no one can say that we've had a better British Superbike season. I don't think. We have had more winners than ever before, well, joint winners to 1998. We've had more podium finishes than ever before. All 6 manufacturers winning, proper upsets as well, and a lot of off-track sadness to deal with the fatalities at the TT, and it all does come back, and we've lost 2 rides of our own in the British Superbikes too. So to see it all start off in an emotional way for the wrong reasons, and then see it all end in a very emotional way for all the right reasons. It's a very, very special season.
One thing that really sort of got me was a Twitter video that from the media centre looking over the pit lane, and I watched the thing on Eurosport or Quest if you did too, and to see the 2 comparisons in one picture. I'm going to play it for you now. And it was taken by Greg Haynes on his like I say, it was just literally a Twitter video, and put yourself back there, where you were, what you were doing, how you were feeling when this was actually happening. On TV, the viewers were watching on track Shaky Byrne coming through that cannon of glitter or confetti, and then in pit lane at the exact same time, well, this happened. It was a very emotional moment just to know that this was happening, because you get to see the confetti cannons going and everybody celebrating a shocked Shaky Byrne. At the same time, Leon Haslam is literally being carried out of the medical car and on his way to that. And that for me was probably one of the images of the entire, not just the weekend, but probably the season, where you've got these two very, very contrasting
individuals, riders.
Yeah.
They've been all year. It's very easy to forget that. They have been rivals all year, both going for the same glory for different reasons. Obviously, Shaky, one of his all-time targets was to defend the title, and one of Haslam's all-time targets was to win a title. And it was a case of so close yet so far for Leon. It was like we say, it was his to lose. Didn't deserve to lose it like that, though. One of the standout moments for me, though, Lester, because, and like I say, I think I've said it on another show that we've done together, Knock Hill for me is always it's a bit special. And to see Jake Dixon get a win and then his double, the tears were, not for me, but the tears there. It was on Father's Day as well. I saw him.
To admit it, it was a good performance and stuff.
We live in a very equal world now, but
got us right in the feels.
Father's Day, Darren Dixon was there, and Jake won, and Jake done the double, and Danny Bucket, one of his best mates, was in there as well. To see that, really, until people go. And this is not me trying to say I go and I know more than you, but until people go, you don't get that feeling that you get when you're watching TV. There's very few moments where TV portrays what is really happening over there. So one example for me was the Northwest 200 this year when Owen beat Seeley in one of the best head-to-heads we've ever seen on the roads. But when you're there and you see it with your own eyes, that stays with you. That really does stay with you. And, again, this weekend, apart from the Superbike one, we saw Keith Farmer do it in Supersport, and I was in the Morello Kawasaki garage when Danny Buchan won. And you cherish that moments as a fan or as a journalist or as a guest in a team, or, you see some history being made. And I think that's one way to put it. That Superbike race, that was history being made. Yeah. And it could have been bigger history being made had Shaky Byrne just dropped back a few more, or had there been more drama and Shane Byrne had dropped out and Josh Brooks had won.
Yeah, I did.
That would have really sent. It would have been, I don't even want to go there. It would have been.
I think probably it was. I mean, I've followed BSB for not that many years. Admittedly, many other people have followed it for longer than I have, but possibly, am I right in saying it was maybe one of the most emotional afternoons, finals ever? Because of the amount of things that all transpired and the amount of stories that all sort of came together and everything, basically.
Absolutely. It wasn't just the top three either. It was the fact that Jake Dixon really had a chance at a Superbike Championship this year, and in the showdown things just didn't work for him. And then when he gets taken out on an oil slick down at Clearways, that you saw the emotion on his face. I saw him walking back down pit lane very angry, and to see the bike come back after and it was ruined, you think, well, that's that championship done. That's that dream done for another year. But you talk to so many people in the paddock and all they want to do is win. And again, another example, I was talking to John Jameson, and he runs the PR team, and I asked, they do it purely for the love of the sport. This is his words, not mine. They know they're not going to win a championship. They know they're not going to get it in the showdown. But they do it because they love it. And that is what this championship is. They do it. Everyone does it because they want the same thing. Everyone wants their rider or the team to have a good year, to be in the showdown, to become champions, to even get a podium for some teams, for some riders. It's an incredible thing to witness. And, I asked him the question, I asked John Jameson the question, have you started to run it more like a business now? And he said, yes, they have to. The team had a few financial struggles back in 2011, I believe. So, and that was the news. PR wants to expand to 2 bikes and 2 classes and make it 4 overall. And, when you listen to these kind of people and them kind of stories, in this atmosphere as well as the last round, it's very high pressure. And a day later, you watch it all unfold, and at the other end, all them emotions come together, and you think that was the best British Superbike year I've ever seen.
Yeah. So, also some images that emerged. I'd say there were thankfully of riders who had been injured. Images of them giving us a thumbs up from their hospital beds. We saw. We obviously know about Leon Haslam as well, but that's not the only person who had a bit of a nightmare at Brands.
Yeah, John Hopkins was another one. Massive accident at the end of the front straightaway, straight into the air fence and the barriers at the top of Paddock Hill. Very unusual place to go down. There he is. That's 2 fractured knees you're looking at there and a fractured vertebrae. And another thing that this tap for me was, I was talking to Ian Hopcroft, the team manager at Moto Rapido Ducati, in the bar on Friday. It's weird how I always talk to people in the bar.
Yeah.
I was talking to them on Friday, and to see what it means to them, and just to be talking normally, and then 12 hours later, it's all a disaster. But that's that was hard as well, because that was a big crash. But what a year we've had, and I'm going to do a little bit of a memento now, or whatever you want to call it, a memoir. I want to say thanks to a few people myself. So I'm going to start with Tony Morris, because we've had him on the show. I didn't actually know Tony till Alton Park, and he was having his lunch, I believe, when I saw him, and he said, Josh will be out after race 1. He's more than happy to do an interview with you. And so I think someone said to him, well, what's this kid keep lingering around for? And Tony, then this is when Josh was coming out, Tony said, that kid's waited all fucking day to do this interview with him. And so I did an interview. It was one of the best ones I've done all year, really. And I want to say big thanks to Tony Morris for allowing that accessibility, because to see it and breathe it, and to have a lot of memories with Tony as well. A few good laughs of the jacuzzi in Knock Hill was a good one, when I was telling him about that in front of Josh's girlfriend. Actually, it's quite weird, but there's a lot of good memories with Tony, so I want to say a massive thank you to him. He's done a lot for me this year, with accessibility to tag. He's got me a lot of interviews with Josh and with Sean, and eventually with Rob this weekend as well. So thanks to Tony for that. I want to say a big thank you to Everquick Racing, the hospitality all season, the laughs, the fun, even right up until midnight Sunday. Mustard sachets, I'll go no further. And all in all, a really funny season to be a part of with them. The banter that they have is incredible. There is, and I'll give them a little plug now, there is the Everquick Racing end-of-season party at Lucian's in Hornsey. I have been invited. It doesn't look likely that I can go, but if everyone could go on my behalf, great outfit, great team. And really, do you know what? They like a drink, and I like a drink as well. So we're going to get on. And that is that just to have that accessibility, just talk to
you know what? They like a drink, I like a drink. We're going to get on.
We're going to get on. So I think ever since it was Knock Hill, I saw them in the bar. That Bjorn Espen, their rider, had a really tough weekend. Broke his ribs, I think, in a crash. And Stuart gave me a lift back home and to Sheffield. He didn't have to. I do thank him for that, and I met a lot of good people that weekend. I think that's why Knock Hill's a little bit special for me, because everyone seemingly comes together. So huge thanks to Everquick, from Stuart and Carl, who own the team, and then Joe Bolton, or the new Spearmint Rhino, display unit, I think we're going to start calling him. Derek, who's got rib injuries from Sunday night. Ryan Esmond, Bjorn Esmond, Danielle and Layla and the Brody girls and Jane and Andrea for fantastic food. Mark, Lynn, everyone, Tony who paints the bike, they've all had an effect on me. It's been really accessible.
Got a lot
really
of people
fun.
to thank, please.
No, it's a big team. It's been a really funny year. And then on to Morello and Steve, who's been on the show tonight, and all of them there with Danny Buchan and the interviews I've had with him and some of the phone conversations as well, and everyone in that team. Everyone. I don't know them all because I haven't really been talking to them for very long, but we got to eat with them on what day were we on? Friday and Saturday. It was Friday and Saturday. We got to have some food with them, and it was just really nice. We didn't talk, but I didn't talk a lot. It was a bit of banter more than anything. But it's been a very special year. I could go on and on. Pete Extance for the Not Hill interview. That was very good and very fun. Pete's a great lad, and that, Lester. We both spoke to Pete and had some association with Bournemouth Kawasaki. Everyone, I can't go on and name everyone. I'd be here all night, but you all know who you are. What a fantastic British Superbike season it has been. The households as well, of course. So, 2017, what a year. 2018 will start sooner.
Yeah, it's not even sort of round the corner. It's sort of here. It's kind of like in your face sort of thing already, because it's just as you get older, Kiko, life gets older and faster and faster every single time. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems like 2018 we're already sort of like involved in all of that already. All of our minds are all like, who's doing what, who's going where, what, like who's doing everything, and BSB is only just finished, really, and we're just sort of like sweeping that away and concentrating on next year already. But that's just motorsport.
Indeed.
So, yes, a couple of... have we had any other comments trickle in? Hopefully, we've not missed out any questions that we had coming from...
I think we have. Andy Rowlinson, who is part of the Anvil Hire Tag Racing team.
All right.
Praising Tony Morris, which is something that never gets done, apart from with me, saying Tony says it how it is. And then Tony goes to say,
I believe that.
For goodness sake, Geeko, you giving Aspen a headache. So thanks, Andy. That was great timing there, mate. And thanks for Tony for the compliment, because I've been called a bit worse in my time. But no, Tony's all right, I suppose. You got to think about Tony really, because he's all right in small doses. You can't have too much of him, because otherwise he gets a bit boring. But no, we do love Tony. Nathan Scott has asked us a question. It's funny you should say that. We have got a question. Nathan Scott asks, who do I think will shine next season? Bradley Ray will definitely really, really come good, I believe. I think Jake Dixon will have a really strong year. Leon Haslam will want to come out fighting. And I don't know about anyone else, really. Richard Cooper, if he is on the Bennett Suzuki, like I understand he is, I think he could have a good year. And it's important to note that whilst Michael Laverty is going to Tyco, they are switching to their suspension. They're switching to Öhlins. So expect the Tyco BMWs to go very, very strongly as well. Lots of possibility to shine, but I really think the standout one will be Bradley Ray. He's had a stunning season this year. He will want to go 2 or 3 places better, I'm sure, if not for that showdown. He wanted podiums this year. He told me that at Knockhill. He made that prediction come right.
Yeah, definitely.
Bradley Ray for the top 6. He's come out of Cool Fab, Leicester. We all know the talent in Cool Fab is rife.
Yeah, funny you should mention that, because this weekend, Kiko, he doesn't just throw these things together, he's slightly planned. This weekend, it is the final round of the 2017 Cool Fab Racing British Minibikes Championship, and we return back to Rowra. I love saying that.
Yes, well, the 4G is in full operation.
And,
in comparison to a Saudi Arabian vodka maker.
What?
Well, there is hardly any 4G up at Rowra.
Oh, okay. fair
but, and there's hardly any vodka makers in Saudi Arabia. So therefore, you've got, absolutely nothing on either side.
We might just have a bit of both. That's all I'll say. I know that there's a pub down the road, and we might just... You can actually get 4G if you walk to the top of the hill, the top of the quarry, and go sort of like that and wave your arm up. You can probably make a phone call. But anyway, okay, bad points of Rara aside, this weekend we will be going back to...
Yes, the premises, please.
To the jewel in the crown of Cumbrian race circuits, I think. It is the Cool Fab Racing final round, the 8th and final round. And we were due to go to Donington Park, but the racing gods have decided that, no, we're going to Rowra instead. Rowra. I love saying that. And there are a couple of championships left to be decided. Some have already been wrapped up. There will be a championship presentation on the Sunday evening, and I will look to live stream some of the racing as much as we can do, internet providing. Of course. So yeah, in the Cool Fab, in the Moto Team Championship, there's still a dispute going on between Will Howarth and Darren Anderson about who's going to win the championship. One will say it's them, the other will say it's them, but it's kind of between those two in the Moto Team categories. Anyway, in the Mini GP 70 category that was racing previously at Donington on the full national loop as well earlier this season. I think they were on the Thundersport bill earlier. That would have been good. Jay Abel and Harvey Claridge are fighting it out at the top of the standings at the moment, with Brodie Crockford in 3rd place as well. A couple of people already knowing who those names are, which is very good. In the AC40 Rookies Championship, Harrison Crosby has, I think he's sewn that championship up, but I can't count, so I'll say maybe Luca Hopkins might be able to say, sort of shoehorn his way in there. Kiko will be on commentary duty. Yes, hello Kiko. Yes, he will be on commentary duty as well, alongside Alex Raby. For this weekend. So, barring acts of God, all should be well, Kiko. Yes, indeed. AC40 Pro Championship, Ross Maguire and Johnny Garness probably having the closest fight in the championship at the moment. Who will win that? Will go down to the wire this weekend at Rowra, and it will be streamed all live, internet providing, here on Motorsport Radio and on the Cool Fab Racing Facebook page, internet providing as well. So tune in for that. How have the Red Bull Rookies thingies trials in Spain this weekend been getting on? I've horrendously neglected to get updates on that, so apologies, and I'm just going to ask you and drop you in it now, Kiko.
Oh, thanks, Lester. Not a clue. My keyboard's stuck here, so
I don't want to know, actually.
Honestly, not going to lie, don't know about the Red Bull Rookies, because do you know what? I don't think the Red Bull Rookies is the main way to get into MotoGP anymore.
It's still a way, and there are lots of... There are a good handful of riders from the BSB support and Cool Fab Racing riders as well. Max Cook was out there.
The Junior World Championship is probably more the way forward now.
What?
My voice kind of went there. I just think that it is more the way, because you've got teams like Avintia, for example. Avintia are in there quite well with Makar Yurchenko at the moment, and you've got people like Marcos Ramirez came to Leopard, the junior team, and so does Joan Mir. So, you got the little teams there, the Rins team as well. They run a couple of riders in there, Enzo Boulon. So you've got the teams there to progress you in that specific team without you having to go to Red Bull Rookies and just try and get into the Red Bull team if you win. So I just think that there are other ways to get in, and it's not the end of the world if you don't make the Red Bull Rookies.
And of course, the British Talent Cup as well is a thing, and we just have to wait to see what happens with that, really.
Yeah, we're still waiting on the calendar to be released. So, we know
the final riders anyway, who'll be doing what, and
we do, yeah. And Thomas Strudwick, one of the Moto Star riders, he had a great weekend actually this weekend. Brought some happy memories to the Moto Rapido team in the Moto Star. He's there, and is Max Cook there as well. He's there, so a lot of riders, a lot of names that we know from British racing, getting a chance to shine on, equal machinery, and who knows? Maybe it'll be a step into Grand Prix, and their lives could change forever. Their dreams become reality.
The champions of the future, or
yes.
The very near future, in maybe Brad Ray's case as well. Yes. Brad won't be at. He has attended most of the Cool Fab racing rounds to ride on a pit bike, or I think he had to go on a mini moto at some point during the season. He did threaten to go on a sidecar, a mini F1 sidecar. I would have loved to have seen that, but he backs out of that. He will be at the race of the year, I think it is, at Mallory this weekend instead.
Oh, okay.
So, that's also happening this weekend.
Yes.
That pretty much nicely brings us to the end of the show, unless we've got anything else to talk about or mention.
No, thanks to our guests, though. Steve Buckingham, first of all.
For coming on with no notice as well. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, and thanks to Rob Winfield. Great insight into what has been a great year for the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha team.
Fantastic. And Kiko Alexander-Giles can be mostly found mooching around on the Pit Crew online and their associated accounts, which are...
You can follow us at Crew on 2, or you can search on Facebook, Crew on 2. That's where all the articles go. At the Pit Crew online is their Twitter handle, or you can find me at MotoGP Kiko. So it's been on the caption most of the night, so go and give us a follow. Loads of stuff coming out there all the time.
We'll let you get off to bed anyway, Kiko. It is late. I'm not saying that you look tired, but you...
really? Thanks.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming on the show, to all our guests as well, and thank you as well for tuning in. Don't know why you do it, but thank you anyway. We'll be back. Will we be back next week? I think we will. We might. We probably will be. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back.
We've got Superbikes. We got MotoGP. We've got probably some British Superbike news as well.
Cool Fab news, maybe.
And we've got Cool Fab results to recap. So that'll keep us going for another... I think we've got another couple of hours there next week, Lester.
We can probably, squeeze it out for another couple of hours or so. But thank you anyway for tuning in, and check out the website motorsport.radio. Join up to that as a listener and get the inside line on all the latest gossip, which may or may not involve a certain Swedish rider. Still don't know what that's about. I've asked Philip anyway, but maybe I should. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching.
Swedish rider, next year.
I don't even know. Thank you and good night.
Motorsport Radio, the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.